What's up guys, Sergeant Red's back again on the Pixel Nation, and today I'm going to give you some close quarters, you may want to call them hints and tips, but I'm going to do it in a very different way. I would imagine at this point, since close quarters has been out for a fair while now, that there's about 1,000 of these videos up, so I'm going to do mine in a sort of different style. The analogy I'm going to use is consider close quarters as if you were at school. Now, when you're at school, there are certain rules you need to follow. Close quarters is no different. So, what is rule number one? Rule number one is that read the rules. What I mean by that is that every class in every school, if you think of a class as a server, has different rules. If you don't read the rules, stuff like this is going to happen. Oh, for f***'s sake! F*** off! Now, as you may be able to tell from that short soundbite, I was not a happy bunny. And I seem to be doing this quite a lot in close quarters, so I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. So, we'll go over round one. I would recommend that you read all rules of all servers before you enter into them, so that you're not really going to get yourself banned. I have noticed some servers taking quite a strict view on not reading the rules, and I've been banned from a couple for instance using shotguns. So yeah, read the rules, save yourself some heartache, or some headache, or some frustration, or save yourself a new monitor when you put your fist through it. Yeah, I've lost many monitors that way. Right, anywho, back on subject. Rule number two. And rule number two is don't run in the corridors. Now, if you've been in high school or preschool or whatever your nation calls it, here it's sort of primary school, preschool, and then high school. Not really going to go into that, but at some point you've been told don't run in corridors. This is one piece of advice that is very useful in close quarters, and I'll explain why. A lot of corridors and a lot of the alleyways, I'm going to call them alleyways, within the close quarters maps do have a very long line of sight. Now that gives you both an advantage and a disadvantage, and I'll explain why. If you're running down that corridor aimlessly and there's an enemy at the end of that corridor, he's going to drop you like a bad subject. Now, to stop that or prevent that, what I would recommend is that yes, you have to stay on the move, however, don't sprint unless it is really necessary. If you feel in any way, shape or form, if your spidey senses are tingling that there is possibility of an enemy at the end of that corridor, don't sprint. The reaction time, or I call it personally the composure time, and you stopping and then being able to get a shot off, puts you at a disadvantage in these sort of battles, and you tend to lose them. So what I would say is that stay vigilant, which is common sense, and only sprint when necessary in this map, or any map in particular. Scrap metal, I don't know how you're going to do much sprinting, that's really confined. But in this particular map, you see the footage on Operation 925, it's very linear, it's very one way, there's a lot of flanking routes and a lot of corridors where there's a long line of sight. Putting this rule to use does require some self-control, in the respect that I know I'm going to run down this corridor like a headless chicken, and I die quite a lot. So I've stopped doing it, and I have found it does quite work. So yeah, don't run in the corridors. I would like to know how you guys sort of view that one. I do know that there is some videos out there that sort of contradict what I've just told you, but my personal opinion is that you shouldn't run unless it's completely necessary. Holding down the W key, or whether you walk forward or backwards or whatever key, does give you sufficient pace to get down the corridors fairly quickly, and also give you the advantage if you come across an enemy. So, rule number 3. Fools rush in. What I mean by that is that I have noticed a large amount of people quickly battering the deploy button to get respawned back into the maps. Now, with being close quarters being so much of a complete cluster, I'm not going to finish that sentence. You probably know what I'm going to say, but I'm not swearing much. You know what I mean. The spawns are fairly close, and you do have a sufficient amount of teammates on the map. Now, There is a large amount of medics on this map, so what I would say is that giving that dice increase the amount of time given to a player that has been killed, I would hold off. Hold off just battering that deploy button and try and get back into the action. Sometimes it does have the advantages to get in straight away, but what I would say is give it a few seconds. The chances of you getting revived is quite high. I've found it a few times that I've just sort of went, yeah, I'll just wait, I'll count it down, and I think it's roughly about 10 seconds. And yeah, I've been revived quite a lot, so what I would say is that don't rush in. The likelihood of you getting dropped again is pretty high in this, especially if you tend to sort of spawn in teammates. So yeah, don't rush in. Stay patient and just see if you get revived. If you don't, what have you lost? You've lost nothing. The only thing you may have lost is an opportunity to die again. So yeah, don't rush in. Rule number 4. Switch it up a little. What I mean by this is that I've noticed a lot of people just going for generic PDWs. Now the M5K or the MP7 and the P90 are fantastic weapons. However, for me personally, it does get rather boring after a certain period of time, and yeah, it doesn't. The fun factor's lost. So what I would say is don't be scared to mix up a little. I've used a lot of shotguns on here as well. The 870 is fantastic. The SPAS 12 is a great shotgun as well. The M1014 is a great... Actually, I'll take up. They're all great shotguns. Even the Saiga. I really love the Saiga. It does sort of get a bad rep. It's not as bad as the USAS, but because of the fire rate and stuff on it, a lot of people sort of consider it a noob gun. Me personally, I really like it. Does that make me a noob? Maybe so. But I would say don't be scared to mix it up a little. Don't always go with the sheep. I tend to try and stay away from going everywhere with the flock, and it's done me well so far. So yeah, rule number 4 is switch up a little. Add a little bit more fun into your game. Try adding some different attachments. I know the suppressor is back to almost being as good as it was before. It does keep you very well hidden in the map, and because of a lot of the battles are short to medium range, you don't lose as much as you would previously in the Battlefield 3 vanilla maps, where it's a lot of the battles can be mid to long. So yeah, add a suppressor, add a flashlight, attack light, add a laser sight, add anything else. Just mix up a little. Keep the game fresh, keep it fresh for yourself, and also bring a variety into your gameplay. Yeah, keep a variety in your gameplay. So that brings me on to the last rule. The last rule sort of follows on from this rule. So rule number 5 is hit fire like a boss. Now rule number 5 isn't really a rule, it's more a guideline. I have found personally that the amount of times I've tried to ADS and basically got killed is quite high. If I tend to get the first shot off or get a few away, then I can ADS. So what I would say is that if you come across an enemy, due to the nature of close quarters and that you're basically on top of each other most of the time, not in that sort of way, yeah, hit fire. We are also in the good position that we do have gun attachments that give you hip fire bonuses. We all know that the laser sight does this, so that is great. The MK5, the MP7 and the P90 are deadly with this. I've also tested it with a few shotguns. Very good. Try it out. So those are really the top 5 hints and tips for me, guys. I used the school analogy because I thought it was a little different than just basically saying, yeah, do this, do that. I hope you liked it. As always, guys, please like the video if you liked it. Please leave a comment. I do read every single comment that I receive in my videos. It can all help me get better. This is from me today, guys. My name is SgtRedPhoenix, and I'll see you in the next video.